Congratulations! You've just hatched as a male anglerfish in the deepest, darkest parts of the ocean where sunlight is a myth and hope goes to die. You're roughly the size of a fingernail, essentially a swimming testicle with eyes, and you've got maybe a few weeks to find a female before your body runs out of energy, and you drift down into the abyss as fish food. No pressure. Oh, and that female you need to find? She's somewhere in 1.3 billion cubic kilometers of pitch-black ocean water. Finding her is like being blindfolded in a warehouse the size of Jupiter and told to locate one specific grain of sand before you starve to death. Welcome to existence. Your achievement, being born as nature's most pathetic punchline. Let's start with your body, which is less of a body and more of an insult to the concept of vertebrate anatomy. You're about 1/60th the size of your female counterpart. She's a massive deep-sea predator with bioluminescent lures and teeth like glass daggers. You're a tiny, helpless larva that looks like someone tried to draw a fish from memory after a severe concussion. You have enormous eyes that take up most of your head because your only job in life is finding a mate before you die. That's it. That's your entire biological purpose. You're not built for hunting, not built for survival, not built for literally anything except desperately searching through the void for a female. Evolution looked at your existence and said, "Here's some oversized eyeballs and a prayer. Good luck out there, champ." Your sensory system is entirely dedicated to detecting female pheromones in the water. You have specialized olfactory organs that can pick up trace chemical signals from miles away, which sounds impressive until you realize the ocean is constantly moving, currents shift unpredictably, and you're essentially trying to follow a scent trail through a hurricane. It's like being a bloodhound in a windstorm, except the windstorm is three-dimensional, freezing cold, pitch black, and wants to kill you. Every moment you spend searching is a moment closer to starvation, because here's the fun part. You don't have a functional digestive system. That's right. You were born without the ability to eat. Male anglerfish emerge into the world with their digestive tract already starting to degenerate. You're running on whatever nutrients were packed into your egg sac, and that tank is rapidly approaching empty. It's like starting a cross-country road trip with a quarter tank of gas, no money, no map, and someone's actively drilling holes in your fuel line. The ocean around you is a nightmarish hellscape that makes post-apocalyptic movies look like vacation brochures. You are swimming through the bathypelagic zone, 3,000 to 13,000 feet below the surface, where the pressure is so intense it would crush a human being into a meat smoothie. The temperature hovers just above freezing. There's no light whatsoever, except for the occasional bioluminescent creature drifting past, most of which would happily eat you if they noticed your existence. You're surrounded by gulper eels with mouths that unhinge like biological garbage disposals, fang-toothed fish that look like swimming nightmares, and giant squid with beaks that could crack open a bowling ball. Everything down here is either trying to eat you or too focused on not being eaten themselves to care about your romantic crisis. Let's talk about your competition. You're not the only desperate male anglerfish swimming through the darkness hoping to get lucky. There are countless others, all racing against the same starvation clock, all following the same faint chemical trails, all competing for the same females. It's like the world's worst dating app where everyone's profile is literally identical. Tiny, starving, desperate, will die alone if swipe left. The rejection isn't just disappointing, it's fatal. You don't get a second chance. You don't get to regroup and try again next season. You find a mate, or you die. Those are your options. Now here's where your existence transitions from merely awful to cosmically horrifying. Let's say by some miracle you actually find a female. You've followed her pheromone trail through the crushing darkness, dodged predators, and arrived at your biological destiny. She's enormous compared to you, a true deep-sea monster with a bioluminescent lure dangling from her head like nature's creepiest fishing rod. You've found her. You've won the lottery. Time to celebrate, right? Wrong. Because now comes the part where you permanently attach yourself to her body and slowly dissolve into a parasitic testicle. Yes, you read that correctly. Parasitic testicle. Your mating strategy, if we can even call it that without laughing, involves biting into the female's body and refusing to let go. Your mouth fuses with her skin. Your circulatory systems merge. Your body begins to atrophy because who needs organs when you're about to become a living sperm factory? Over the following weeks and months, you'll lose your eyes because you'll never need to see again. Your fins disappear because you'll never swim again. Your internal organs shut down one by one because the female's bloodstream now sustains what's left of you. Your brain shrinks to almost nothing because thinking is no longer part of your job description. You literally dissolve into her, becoming nothing more than a pair of gonads hanging off her body, producing sperm on demand whenever she decides it's time to reproduce. Imagine working your entire life for a goal, finally achieving it, and your reward is being slowly digested alive while conscious, losing every part of yourself that made you an individual organism until you were reduced to a biological accessory. It is like finally getting your dream job only to discover the position involves being surgically attached to your boss and having your personality slowly erased while you were still aware it's happening. You don't die quickly. You don't get the mercy of a clean ending. You just gradually stop being you, cell by cell, organ by organ, until the thing that was once a male anglerfish is now just a small lump of testicular tissue grafted onto a female's belly. The fusion process itself is a body horror masterpiece. Your immune system, which normally would reject foreign tissue, completely shuts down to allow the bonding. Your lips and her skin literally grow together at the cellular level, blood vessels intertwining like some kind of cardiovascular nightmare. Enzymes break down the boundaries between your bodies. You're not mating with her in any conventional sense. You're being absorbed. You're becoming a part of her biological infrastructure, like an extra organ she picked up along the way. The technical term is sexual parasitism, which is evolution's way of admitting this whole setup is deeply messed up, but technically works, so we're going with it. Here's the really fun part. You're probably not even the only male attached to her. Female anglerfish can collect multiple males, wearing them like the world's most disturbing jewelry collection. You might find yourself fused right next to 2 or 3 other males who had the same bright idea you did. You're all just hanging there together, a cluster of dissolved former fish, producing sperm and thinking whatever minimal thoughts are possible with your rapidly deteriorating brain tissue. It's like a horrifying group project where everyone's contribution is the same and nobody can leave. Ever. Let's consider the alternative scenario, shall we? What if you don't find a female in time? What if the pheromone trails lead nowhere? The ocean proves too vast, the currents too chaotic. Then you simply starve to death in the darkness, your tiny body running out of energy, your swimming becoming weaker and more erratic until you can't fight against the water anymore. You drift downward into deeper, colder water, past the zone where even anglerfish live, down into the Hadal trenches where the pressure would compress your corpse into nothingness. You'll be eaten by scavengers or bacteria, your organic molecules recycled into the ecosystem, your entire existence amounting to nothing more than a few weeks of desperate searching followed by oblivion. No reproduction, no legacy, no biological purpose fulfilled. You were born, you searched, you failed, you died. Evolution shrugs and moves on. Even if you do everything right, your reward is genetic immortality at the cost of individual existence. Your DNA gets passed on, sure, but you as an organism cease to exist in any meaningful sense. You are not a father, you are not a partner, you are an appendage, a biological tool, a sperm dispenser that used to be a fish. The female doesn't care about you specifically. You're interchangeable with any other male that managed to find her. Your personality, your experiences, your individual journey through the abyss, none of it matters. You're revalued purely for your gametes, and once those are integrated into her system, the rest of you is just excess tissue waiting to finish dissolving. Compare this to literally any other mating strategy in the animal kingdom. Male peacocks get to strut around showing off fancy feathers. Male lions get to sleep 20 hours a day and occasionally roar at things. Male seahorses carry babies, but at least they remain independent organisms with their own bodies and agency. You? You get to lose your identity, your autonomy, and your physical form all at once, and you should feel grateful for the opportunity because the alternative was starving to death alone in the dark. It's like evolution ran out of ideas halfway through designing deep-sea fish reproduction and just scribbled, "I don't know, make the males into parasites, whatever," on the blueprint and called it a day. Your entire species is basically evolution's admission that it gave up trying to make deep-sea reproduction work elegantly. The ocean is too big, mates are too hard to find, the environment is too hostile, so the solution was to turn males into disposable reproductive accessories that literally merge with females, because that's somehow more efficient than maintaining two separate organisms. You're not a partner in reproduction, you're a biological patch, a living piece of DLC that gets installed and forgotten about. Your life's purpose is to be subsumed, and you should be thankful you even got the chance. So the next time you think you're having a bad day, remember the male anglerfish. Born without a digestive system, given weeks to find a mate in the largest, darkest habitat on Earth, and if successful, rewarded with the gradual dissolution of your body and consciousness until you're nothing but a small bulge producing sperm for someone who's already forgotten you were ever an independent fish. Your worst breakup is his dream scenario. Your loneliest moment is his unachievable fantasy of having existed as an individual for more than a few weeks. Welcome to existence, male anglerfish. You re a biological tragedy, a swimming desperation, an organism whose entire life is a countdown to either death or something arguably worse than death. Nature has given you eyes to search and nothing to search with except borrowed time. You were proof that evolution doesn't care about dignity, fairness, or your feelings. You exist because this nightmare strategy somehow works better than the alternatives, which says more about the hostile impossibility of deep-sea life than it does about any kind of cosmic justice. You're not living. You're just dying slowly enough to maybe reproduce first. Its existence reduced to its most brutal, purposeless minimum. Congratulations. People around me think this documentary won't fly. Please, let's surprise them by sharing and commenting.